My week 2 game is against Shady Penguin and the New York Mankeys, and I knew going into this week that I had a really good matchup. All I have to do is get mana fee basically to +3, and the game is over. I win unless he's running 2 Choice Scarfers or Focus Ashes, but that's kind of what this team is built to facilitate. It's got Swampert to try and set up rocks, to break any sashes, and basically smash face and deal as much damage as it can. It's also a completely free switch into Tyranitar if he brought it, but he didn't, so that's cool. Kingdra, basically the same thing, just smash face and try and open up a big enough hole for Manaphy to sneak through. And Fortress is there to take some hits that I can't really deal with, set up spikes, and Amoonguss is there to be annoying because that's what Amoonguss does. Interesting team choices on his part. He didn't bring Crawdon, which I thought he'd be all over Swords Dance, Aqua Jet, Adaptability in the rain. Hello, but that's the other reason I brought Kingdra, to try and ×4 resist that and one hit KO it back, but now I don't have to worry about it. So once again I try my opening strat of get up rocks while I mega with Swampert, but he led with a grass type, so I couldn't do that. Go to Amoonguss. Amoonguss can take a burn, Amoonguss can take a Horn Leech, and Amoonguss can fire a Toxic back. So if this thing's not Natural Cure, which I think it winds up being, that's a big deal because that's his number one thing to deal with my rain sweepers that aren't called Manaphy, I guess. In comes Gardevoir, and I just went for Sludge Bomb, trying to get some damage on it. I wasn't threatened by Trevenant at all, and he didn't have a Steel type, so I thought Sludge Bomb would be safe. And it turns out he was thinking about Spore because he had Lumberry, but even if he wasn't Lum, one Psyshock wouldn't have taken me out, so I guess I just got some free damage on it. It traced Regenerator, so it's going to get some of that HP back, whatever, no big deal. And he switches in Tentacruel, and that is a huge blunder for him because this is the matchup I want. I'm going to be able to Spore it, I'm going to be able to switch into Politoed, and then I'm going to be able to immediately switch into Manaphy and start setting up Tail Glows. I don't care that I don't have Spikes right now, or Stealth Rock or anything. I'm just going to try and get my ending sweep going right now. If he winds up killing Manaphy, that's not a big deal. I've still got enough sweepers to deal with everything he's got left, really. If Manaphy does go down, I have Specs Kingdra Icebrain to deal with Trevenant, and Mega Swampert will eventually get up and eventually start hitting things with Waterfall, so there's not really a whole lot he could do. He winds up having Giga Drain on the Tentacruel, which it's a good idea in theory, but it just isn't strong enough. Base 80 special attack just isn't good enough. And I'm going to go for +6 because I did a calc, and at +3 I would barely be able to 2-hit KO it, I think, or barely. It might have lived if it was Rain Dish, which it winds up being, so set up +6. His Giga Drains aren't threatening at all. Even if he crits, it's not a big deal. He's getting a lot of HP back every turn, but I'm going to go for Rest right here and get back to full. Giga Drain does something like 56 points, so even if his Double Protect had worked, and I just 2-hit KO him, he gets an extra Giga Drain off, I get an extra turn of lefties, so even if that Double Protect had worked, his Mamoswine coming in with Freeze Dry wouldn't have been able to kill because I live at 59, so 56 was a pretty high roll. Unless he got a crit, he really didn't have a chance, and that's just the end of the game. Everything else dies. He could have played the mind game where his Porygon Z could have been Scarfed, so if he had immediately brought it in after his Mamoswine, I might have switched out, and I think that was actually my plan, was to switch out if Porygon Z came in, but in real time he took way too long to decide, and in the game he actually sacked his Trevenant first, so there was really no chance for him after he hesitated there. But I guess that was a good game. Manaphy just set up and swept, but next week won't be this easy, definitely. And it's not, that's not to say Shady's a bad player, obviously. He just had a really crappy matchup against Manaphy, and he didn't do enough, in my opinion, to deal with it in his setup. So next week's going to be a lot harder. It's against Fizz. He's got a really good team, actually, and I'm kind of worried, but I'll deal with it.